Greetings, everyone. Welcome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is Sharon Clemmens, and
They say we're coming by, so if you do, I'll be there.
I'm going to ask everyone to mute themselves.
I can barely hear you.
Okay, well, you have a nice night. All right.
Can you hear me now? Can everyone hear me? Anybody want to respond and let me know that they can hear me?
Your volume seems to be very low.
Thank you for that. Can you hear me better now? Anthony?
It's still low. I mean, you sound like you're in a distance somewhere. I'm not sure if you have a headset on or what.
I don't have on a headset. So no. Can anyone else hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I'm not sure if the other people hear you at all. They're having a conversation with themselves.
I can hear you, Sharon. I can hear you.
I can hear you as well. You're very clear and you're loud.
Okay,
you're coming in really good. Yeah.
Great. Maybe it's something, Anthony, with your audio, because it seems that everyone else can hear me.
I hear you better now.
Okay, good. All right. Well, welcome. Welcome back to the Self-Health Optimization Program. And again, this is Sharon Clemmens. The purpose of this podcast is to help everyone manage their own health. So it's self-health, not self-help, self-health optimization. That's the objective of this podcast. And every 2 weeks I try to bring you information with a guest, or like tonight.
Marcy Francis.
Hi, Marcy. Can you mute yourself, please?
I'm going to see, because it wouldn't work on my cell phone. I'm trying to see how.
Okay, I got you. All right. So at the end of the presentation, you're going to be able to unmute yourselves and ask questions or make comments, or, at the end of the presentation. So I will let you know when it's done, and then everyone can unmute. Okay, so tonight it's going to just be me, and our topic tonight is fasting. Fasting is your body's natural healing system. And what we're going to talk about specifically tonight is water fasting. It's different types of fasting, and the type of fasting I'm talking about is the type of fasting that leads to healing, not dietary changes that sometimes people get them confused. People fast for religious reasons. They fast, they have fasts that are just like maybe just fruits and vegetables, and that's not really a fast, but it's often confused to be a fast. So what I'm talking about tonight is water fasting for health optimization, for healing, and I'm going to start with a definition of fasting. Fasting deals with the willingness to abstain from food or drink, or both, at least some part or entirely. People usually fast for a particular period of time. Fasting can mean different things to different people, and some must do it for medical reasons, like before surgery or for blood work, and often people fast for religious reasons. There's several different types of fasting, and what we're talking about tonight again is water fasting. And fasting is different from detoxing. A lot of times fasting is confused with detoxing. Detoxing is generally a short-term dietary intervention that's designed to eliminate toxins from your body. A detox is usually a diet that typically involves a period of fasting followed by a strict diet of maybe fruits and vegetables or fruit juices, and water. Sometimes a detox may also include herbal teas, supplements, colon cleanses, enemas, etc., etc., etc. So we try to keep it clear what's what, because when you detox, the therapy is usually recommended because of an exposure to toxic chemicals in the environment or your diet, like pollutants and heavy metals or other harmful compounds in your environment that get into your body. And when you detox, your objective is to remove those things. But when you're fasting, it's a totally different process. It's similar, but it's different as far as the objective of the process. When you're fasting, you're cleansing, and detoxing, you can be cleansing. But when you're fasting, you're cleansing and you're energizing your body, and you're bringing on rejuvenation or repair to the cells. So I'm going to go over some of the benefits of fasting. Fasting can promote blood sugar control. So for diabetics or if people just try to maintain a balanced blood sugar level, fasting is a great way to do that. Studies have shown that fasting will improve blood sugar and often help people to either reduce medications if they're taking medications to reduce blood sugar, sometimes even eliminate those medications completely. With blood sugar control, fasting, you might do a intermittent fast, which I'm going to explain in more detail. You might do an alternate day fast, or you might do some sort of extended period of time, extended fast. So that's one benefit of fasting. Another benefit of fasting would be to promote better health by fighting inflammation. Because fasting actually downregulates inflammation. Because if you're familiar with what inflammation does, chronic inflammation causes serious consequences to our health. So fasting helps us to control chronic inflammation, which leads to disease, which we know. Another benefit of fasting is for your heart health. It can improve your blood pressure. It can help reduce triglycerides and cholesterol levels as well. A lot of times people try dietary means to reduce the triglycerides and cholesterol levels, and unsuccessfully. But often, if you use fasting, you'll find that you'll get great improvement in those levels. There's been some studies that have shown great results in reducing cholesterol levels and triglycerol levels through fasting. So fasting is definitely a great tool in your toolbox when it comes to heart health. And heart disease contributes to 31.5% of deaths globally. So we know we need to do everything we can to reduce our risk for heart disease and control of it if we have it, and elimination of it if we can. So that's another great benefit of fasting. Um, Another one, which really it's just so important is how fasting affects brain function. Fasting can boost brain function, and it can also prevent neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's. And that's an amazing benefit. So, cognitive function can improve through fasting, and again, neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's can actually have a positive effect through fasting. Another great benefit, they all are, is that it aids in weight loss. So if you're struggling with trying to get some pounds off your body, fasting is a great way to lose weight. Another great thing that fasting does is it increases something called the human growth hormone. And the human growth hormone affects, it's vital for metabolism, for weight loss, for building muscle, um, and it people often use a synthetic human growth hormone. Athletes often do to improve their athletic performance, and and it costs. It's very expensive. It's very expensive, and you could do the same thing, get the same results that you would get from synthetic human growth hormone through fasting. Another great benefit of fasting is it can extend your longevity. So, studies have shown that people actually live up to 28% longer that incorporate a fasting practice into their life. So, that's something we all want to do, is increase our longevity, and that can be accomplished through fasting. It's important to have a fasting practice. That's something that I've personally been working on and finally got into a rhythm of it. For me, I practice fasting at least once every 2 weeks. I'll do a 36-hour fast. And I do an intermittent fasting, which I will explain in more detail, as often as 5 days out of the week. Another great benefit of fast, and the last one I'm going to go over right now in this section, is it can prevent cancer. It can prevent cancer. It can have an effect on tumor growth. And it also has an effect on when someone is getting chemotherapy, the side effects are often reduced and sometimes eliminated. I was talking to someone just this afternoon who is going through chemotherapy and uses fasting as a way to reduce the side effects of chemo. And before he gets his chemotherapy, he fasts a couple of days. And he has found that he doesn't have any side effects. That's almost unheard of when he gets his chemo. And he attributes that to fasting. So, again, fasting is an amazing tool to have in your toolbox. And one of the things I like most about it is it's free. It doesn't cost us anything. A lot of times we come up with these things that are very beneficial to our health, but everybody can't necessarily fit it in their budget. Everybody can fit fasting in their budget. As a matter of fact, it'll help you save money because while you're fasting, you're not eating. So we all know how expensive food is. So fasting is not restricted. Everyone can fast if they desire to. One of the benefits of fasting, after about 16 hours of fasting, your body goes through this process called autophagy. I don't know if you've heard that word before, but the word autophagy, it basically means self-eating. And what it is, it's a detox process that your body undergoes to clean out damaged cells and regenerate new cells. And that's an amazing thing. To be able to clean, it's a cleanup on the cellular level. And it happens after about 14 to 16 hours of fasting. And the longer you fast, the greater the benefit, the more autophagy that your body will go through, and you will experience this cellular cleanup and regeneration of cells. And the body has billions of cells, so to have them cleaned up and regenerate new cells is a process that we all want to go through, because it absolutely contributes to our longevity and the quality of our health. Autophagy is that word. So it's AUTOPHAGY. If you want to look that up, look at that further. That's a great benefit of fasting that we all want to experience. And now I'm talking about the different types of fast. And as I mentioned earlier, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is a way that we fast where we don't have to fast for prolonged periods of time. It's a healthy eating routine, and it allows our digestive system enough time to rest in between meals. And in intermittent fasting, we usually do them in these specific intervals. Like, for instance, you might hear somebody say, oh, I'm doing a 16-8 intermittent fast, or I'm doing an 18-6 intermittent fast, or a 24 intermittent fast. And what that means is, if I'm doing a 16-8, it means I'm going to have 16 hours out of my 24-hour day where I fast, where I don't consume anything other than water and maybe some herbal tea. Or sometimes people might consume black coffee. I don't recommend coffee because I don't think the caffeine has the benefit that we need when we're fasting. So, but a lot of people, you may hear a lot of people talk about black coffee is okay, and black coffee will not break your fast. But water and maybe some herbal tea is basically all you should be consuming during your fasting period. So if you're doing a 16-8 intermittent fast, you're going to fast for 16 hours, and then you're going to have an 8-hour window where you would consume food. Now, so how you would plan that out, and one of the great things about intermittent fasting is you're going to sleep through probably, a good portion of the hours that you're fasting. If you sleep 8 hours and you're doing a 16-8, then you're only going to be awake 8 hours of that fast. So you might want to start the fast at 8 a.m. and at 8 p.m. and then you wouldn't eat until 12 p.m. the next day. So from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., that would be your period. That's your window where you would have your meals. And hopefully you would just have, probably just 2 meals during that period. One at the beginning and one close to the end of that period. And that would be the same if you were doing an 18-6 or 24. The smaller the window of time that you have to consume food, the more benefit you'll receive from that fast, from that intermittent fast. So whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, if it's weight loss or if it's, some health concern that you're trying to work with, blood sugar control, it would benefit you more to do a longer fasting period and a shorter eating window. And it's actually a great way to, it's a great practice to do on a regular basis because it's giving your digestive system a rest on a regular basis. And that's really important to your overall health. The next type of fast would be like a prolonged fast. And a prolonged fast could go for many different time periods. I mean, you would start with a 24-hour fast, and you could do a 36-hour fast, 48-hour fast, and on and on and on. My favorite, the one I do on a regular basis, is a 36-hour fast. And when I actually teach a seminar on fasting, and at the completion of the seminar, I invite the participants to join me in a group fast. We do a group 36-hour fast. We do it probably every 2 weeks, and we just, I just encourage everyone during that 36-hour fast. I give them a start and an ending and time, and in between, it's just encouragement and any questions that anyone has or any issues anyone has. I'm available to them for that entire 36 hours. And I've had a lot of positive response to the 36-hour fast. So it's become a regimen. So again, whenever I teach my fasting seminar, I invite the participants to participate in our group fast. And the reason I do that is because I'd like everyone to understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how to do it. Because if you don't fast with information about how you should fast, you could have some adverse effects. So I like everybody that joins me with these routine group fasts to attend my seminar, and you're invited to the group fast forever at no cost. So, and I actually have one coming up on Saturday, January 6th from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. in Philadelphia. So I'll announce that again, but if anyone's interested in becoming a part of the group fast or just getting more information about fasting, you're invited to attend that seminar. The 36-hour fast has a lot of benefits, and one is the ones I just mentioned, and it's one of those ones that put us into that state where we can have that process of cellular detoxification that I mentioned called autophagy start. It starts around 14 to 16 hours of fasting. So you will be in that process from that point of that it starts to the end of the 36-hour fast, so you can get a good period of time where your cells are being detoxified and getting that cleanup process that helps them to regenerate. That's some of the benefits of the 36-hour fast. Another one is the mental clarity. At the end of a 36-hour fast, you find that your mental clarity has improved, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Another type of fast you could do is an alternate day fast. And then there's the multi-day fast, where you might do 2 days or 3 days, or 4 days or 5, or on and on and on. It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. One important thing is, if you have a serious health disease that you're trying to improve with fasting, the longer that you can fast, the more benefit you're going to get. So if you're dealing with a serious illness, you might really want to consider a 5 or 7-day fast, or even longer. It just really depends on what you're dealing with. I know some people use fasting for cancer, and it usually involves really long fasting periods, like maybe up to 30 days. So that's something you wouldn't want to do unsupervised. That's something I don't recommend anyone jump into anything like that. But it is an option that you may want to consider if you're dealing with something that serious. But make sure you contact someone to supervise a fast like that. That's not something that you want to do alone. So consider that. Um, so just let me recap a little bit. We have intermittent fasting with different intervals like 16-8, 18-6, alternate day fasting, and extended day fasting. So those are the different types of fasting that I'm talking about today. Again, there are other types, but that's not what we're talking about. When we're doing a water fast, you have to be really mindful to just do those things that I mentioned, like consume water, some herbal tea, unsweetened, and basically that's it. If you sweeten your tea, you break your fast. So at that moment, you might have just stuck a teaspoon of honey in your tea, and your fast is broken. The glucose will break your fast. Once you get that glucose in your blood and your blood sugar elevates, your fast is broken. If you drink a fruit juice or something like that, your fast is broken. So if you're going to continue to fast, know that you're starting all over from the point of breaking your fast with that item that you put in your body, like a sweetener or juice. Those things will break your fast immediately. So again, I'm going to go over some of the terminology with fasting. Again, autophagy. I always stress that because cleaning up your cells is so important. It's so important to our healing. It's so important to our recovery from whatever we're dealing with. It's important to our quality of life, and it's extremely important for our longevity. So, autophagy. Remember that name. The human growth hormone, I mentioned that earlier. That is something that is going to help you, help your bones and your muscles strengthen. And we know as we age, it's so important that our bones are strong, that our muscles are strong. So that is a great benefit that we're going to get when we do a water fast. Another thing that I didn't really talk about is insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is when your cells and muscles and fat and liver don't respond well to insulin. Insulin is a hormone. And when we fast, we help break the resistance so that the insulin hormone that's produced by the pancreas can do what it's supposed to do. So, and what that is it regulates the amount of glucose in your blood. So fasting is a way to reduce insulin resistance and help the body use the insulin hormone the way it's made to be used and regulate the amount of glucose in your blood. And that's the common issue with people with diabetes. So fasting is something that if you have diabetes, you need to consider. But keep in mind, you might want to be monitored, because if you're taking medications to lower your glucose, you don't want to, that has to be closely monitored. You really don't want to do that and fast because your blood sugar levels could get dangerously low, and that's not something that you want to experience. So it's important to know how to break your fast. When you've completed the period of time that you're fasting, you want to break your fast, and that's what we call breakfast. Every day, we all know breakfast, which is the two words, break, fast. So when you break your fast, it's a way that you should do that. You should ease into it. You don't want to break a fast with difficult to digest foods. You want to have things like fruit, soup, broth, smoothies, light, easily digestible foods after a fast. So break your fast that way and ease into eating foods that require more energy from your digestive system. So you ease into it. So that's really, really important. And so that's basically all I have to present to you right now. And I want to open it up to questions, comments, experiences, if you have experiences with fasting. And you can unmute yourselves. And I'm open to questions. Anybody have questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
This is Adrian. Question. When you were talking about, no, let me back up a little bit. Before you going into a fast, is there something, and you may have said it already, because I've been in and out. Is there something that one must do to prepare your body before going into a full fast? Like if I'm going into a fast for 24 hours that I'm not going to eat anything, is there a way to prepare my body beforehand? Because I'm not successful with fast too much, because I'm like get so hungry. It's like,
yeah.
Is there something I can do like before starting a fast, like 24 hours before?
Excellent question. One thing you want to make sure that your nutrient level are intact. So if you've been nutrient deficient any period of time, that's not the time to start fasting. You want to make sure that you are getting enough nutrients days. It's not all the time, but at least days prior to starting a fast. Another thing you want to make sure is that you are properly hydrated. I can't stress hydration enough. You want to be hydrated before you start the fast, and you want to remain hydrated throughout the fast. So it's very important to drink water while you're fasting. You want to stay hydrated. And another thing you might want to do, too, is make sure your mineral intake is up to par, and your electrolytes. Make sure your electrolytes are up to par, and electrolytes are just trace minerals. So, and you can add some electrolytes while you're fasting. I actually use a little pack that I add to my water. It's by a company called Element, and they're raw, unflavored electrolytes, because they have different types out there on the market where where they have like flavor. They might have artificial sweeteners. They'll say sugar free, but they got stevia. They might have monk fruit, or they might have some of those other artificial sweeteners. I would say don't do those.
Okay, that was just what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, don't do those. The only one I would recommend is a raw, unsweetened, unflavored mineral supplement where it's just the minerals and nothing else. But make sure you read the ingredients. If it's got a whole lot of chemicals in it, words that you don't know what it is, that's not
right.
good. You don't want to do that. And you can actually just add a little salt to your water, and you'll find a little.
I don't do salt.
Okay. Well, sodium is a required mineral for the body. So everybody needs some sodium in their diet. You would die if you don't have sodium in your diet. So when you're fasting, you're not eating foods with salt in them. Sometimes you need a little pinch, just a little pinch of salt. And what it does often, it actually helps calm down the hunger hormone. It's a hunger hormone called ghrelin that makes us feel hungry. We're not really hungry. It's a hormone that makes us feel hungry. And just a little salt in our water can help calm that down. And it also can calm down any pain. Like sometimes we might get little aches, some little discomfort in our body when we're fasting. And it's just a little pinch of salt, which again, sodium is required. I know we've been scared away from sodium, especially if you had any heart issues or high blood pressure. You cannot live without some sodium in your diet. You would die without it. So.
Okay. When you say salt, are you talking about like that regular table salt, or you?
No.
No, a good quality salt like a Himalayan.
A Himalayan salt. Okay.
Or a good quality sea salt.
I actually have some of that here.
Right, the pink salt is the Himalayan or a good quality sea salt. Not that Morton's, nothing like that. No.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to use that salt. Period.
No, I stopped using that a long time ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So, thank you.
Thank you for your question, Adrian. Anyone else have a question or a comment?
Yes, this is Forrest. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Forrest. How you doing?
I'm doing good, sister. First of all, wonderful presentation. And I'd like to ask you now, when you do the fast, right? Normally I have, would there be a difference between, what would be your choice of water? Distilled? Because I have shungite stones that Dr. Ali had sent to me, the elite shungite. So I use that to wash my veggies when I juice. But what water would you suggest for, because there's many different types. Abundantly Wealthy Stan has the ionized machine, the keg, and, the hydrated water. What's your preference, sister?
That's a good question. I actually do a workshop on hydration, and we talk about that, and everyone is always surprised when I say I don't have a favorite water. It's clean water. Of course, we don't want to drink tap water. Of course, we do not want to drink clean tap water, but we want to drink clean water that's free of fluoride. That's really important. And, any toxins in the water. So whether you take the tap water and run it to a filtering system, which is basically what reverse osmosis is, a filtering system. So that's one way. Or you might just get a good filtering system, maybe something you sit on your counter or under your sink, or a whole house filter. But a good filtering system will provide a nice, clean, toxin-free water, but just make sure that it also removes fluoride, because I found one time I was looking at buying this system called, maybe I shouldn't even name it, but I will, Kangen, and it was very expensive, but it did not remove fluoride. And fluoride is a toxin to the human body that I don't want to consume. If I don't, if I'm aware of it, I don't want to consume it. So be mindful that whatever filtering system you use removes fluoride along with all the other toxins. But I do that sometimes. Mostly I do spring water. I use a Saratoga spring water because I like the fact that it's in a glass bottle. I think containers are important. The container that your water is stored in is important. So, if it's in a plastic, you make sure it's a really good plastic that is BPA free. You don't want to consume the toxins that leach from the plastic into the water. So
Right.
whatever type of water it is, if it's spring water, if it's distilled water, if it's purified water, the container that is in is extremely important. So those are the things that I'm mindful of. I don't say just do this. It was recommended to me to use a filtering system first and then distill the water. So it's two processes. And and distilled water removes most of the minerals from the water, so you got to be mindful of that because you want to get your minerals. That's very important because most of our fruits and vegetables don't have the minerals that they used to because the soil is depleted of minerals. Right. So you want to be careful with the distilled water, making sure nothing's wrong with distilled water, but we want to make sure that we put those minerals back into the water or back into our body somehow that we're not getting from the water that we're drinking. So that's what's important to me when it comes to water.
A quick suggestion, sister. Since you were going to go with the Kagan, you found out that you had a problem with, I guess, some of the pesticides or toxins that you want to remove. Could you suggest a good countertop water filtration? They go on the counter, like you said, underneath.
I had the one I use is called 01. 01 water filter, and I like that one because it's like 99.9% of the toxins are removed with this filtering system. It has a pretty long life, and I really like the 01. That's the one I would recommend.
Now, sister, and this will be a blessing. Most when I do the water purifiers, most of them they'll tell you can't run hot water through them, and I'm like, uh-oh. So how am I going to wash dishes with purified warm water or hot water? How do you manage that?
They hear the last part.
I said most water filtration systems, they always tell you beware of you can't run hot water through the filtration systems, only cool or cold water. And I'm like, wait a minute, use warm water to wash your dishes and other articles. How do you manage to get through that, Sister Sharon?
So you're talking about if you have like an under-the-counter system?
Either under or over. Which one is best that you can run hot water? Because the ones I had in the past, he said you can't run hot water through them. And remember that the Pure that first came out before he found that was bootleg. It used to that red light used to flash on it. The green light meaning was okay, but when the red light flashed, I noticed that I'm running hot water. Always the red meant danger. Always said. So I'm like, how do you work out with hot water on your filtration system?
The system I have doesn't have that warning. So that would be something I would have to look into, but it doesn't have a warning about. It doesn't prohibit running hot water through it. But I don't actually run hot water through it because I use it as drinking water, and I just want it to be room temperature. The system I use is not it's not connected to my plumbing system. It's actually sitting on my counter, and I actually take the water from the tap and pour it through or into the filter, and then it filters it.
Filters it. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Well, that's what I've been doing with my shungite stones. So that's why I soak my vegetables in there for about 5 minutes. I'm good to go. And I tested the shungite that I had when you could smell the chlorine in the tap water. So I run into a stainless steel canister with the stones, let it sit for about 2 or 3 minutes, go to smell it. You don't get that chlorine smell no more. No taste, no nothing. So those shungite stones work pretty good also.
Awesome. Yeah.
But thank you, sister. I'm glad you shared. Oh, and one other thing. Breaking the fast. I guess because of the glycemic level in carrots, if you were to juice during a fast, that would break your fast, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, okay. Okay, I just wanted to ask that question. Thank you, Sister Sharon. Appreciate you.
Thank you for that information about the shungite stones, though. I wasn't familiar with using it that way. I use them, actually sell shungite stones, but I've used them for, just protecting my body from the electromagnetic frequencies in the environment. So I wasn't aware that it was being used to, make the water something to clean the vegetables and the fruits. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well, my dear brother, Dr. Alim Muhammad, he gave a class on shungite, and he actually demonstrated where he went into a dirty stream, little stream, and he actually threw a handful of shungite in the water, and he went a little further down, maybe about 21 feet, and they did testing on the water. They got it in the cup after 5 minutes, and the pH on that was 8 point something. I was like, wow. So he always advocates, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Alim, he's been around for a very long time, but he gave that lecture. I was like, all right, that's what I'm talking about right there. So, yeah, it does have those properties also.
Also, another thing, though, keep in mind, too, when you mention pH, it's been this whole thing about alkaline water, and really, it's my opinion that that's more of a marketing tool than a real thing, because the body is naturally alkaline at about 7.4 pH, and once whatever you put into the body gets into the digestive system and into the gut, it's going to become acidic, and it has to become acidic to digest. Digestion requires acid, so the body is going to change the pH levels naturally, unless you're really suffering, nutritionally or something else is going on. But if you're in the normal process, it's going to do what it needs to do and take you to the levels where it needs to be. So the high, not saying that having a little elevation in your pH is not bad, but it's not necessary. That's
no, I understand. I just use it to wash my veggies. I soak my veggies in it, I rinse them over with it, and that's it. I don't. As far as drinking the shungite water, I haven't, because I usually drink purified water distilled. But thank you. I just wanted to share that with you. You're right.
Okay.
Thank you, Sister Sharon. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I do have a question about the fasting and the did you say HGH?
Yes, the human growth hormone.
Yeah, what type of fasting, or how long should you fast before that is activated?
It's no way of knowing exactly, because it's not going to be the same in everybody. But the human growth hormone is going to come somewhere about 18 to 24 hours. It's going to start to be in your system.
Is that straight fasting or intermittent fasting?
No, that's just straight fasting, water fasting. Yes. I mean, if you could probably start to build a little bit of HGH if you're doing like a 24 intermittent fast, meaning 20 hours of fasting and with a 4-hour eating window. But you're not going to get the real benefit unless you're going to do at least a 36-hour fast.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for that question, Anthony. Anyone else have a question or a comment?
Well, I have another question. Say if a person is of optimal health or fair health, what is the longest? Say 40 years ago, I was able to fast. I've actually fasted 3 straight days, no water, no food. But I was on a mission. I had a purpose. I'm 70 years old now, so I couldn't even imagine doing something like that now. So for a person around my age, 70 years old, say average health, what's the longest do you recommend a person fast? Well, with water, not without water.
Well, again, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So if you don't have any health issue that you're addressing, you may not need to fast for a really prolonged period. for a health reason. So, if you just did a 36-hour fast or a 48-hour fast just to kind of get some autophagy going, if you're looking at because autophagy, again, is a cellular cleanup, and it helps to regenerate cells. So if you're looking for that, which we all can benefit from that contributes greatly to longevity, then you might want to seek to do, a 72-hour fast. And you'll get,
okay.
Get a great benefit of, from the autophagy, that process going on in your body for that period of time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend, if you're not working on any particular health issue, a 72-hour fast is sufficient.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Sharon, this is Adrian again. I'm sorry.
Hi,
Somebody else wanted to say something?
Go ahead, Adrian.
Okay. My challenge, and every time I try to participate in a fast, especially when there's a group doing it, and they'll do like a 24-hour fast, 36-hour fast, I'm diabetic, so I can never do it. And then I feel like it's sometimes I feel like it's a waste of my time. So if I'm trying to do, for example, a 36-hour fast and I only make it 24 hours, is that a moot point, or should I keep trying? Because I'm thinking every time I try, I go a little further. Because I remember back in the day, about 10 years ago, I couldn't do an 8-hour fast. But now I can go, 12, 24. But is that the right way to do it? Just every time you do it a little bit longer?
I think that's a really good way to do it. 24-hour fast is a really good fasting period because you've gotten some autophagy, your ketones levels will change, and you start burning glucose. Instead of glucose for energy, you start burning ketones. So you get that out of a 24-hour fast. So
okay.
yeah, I would say definitely continue. And I understand that, when you have diabetes, one thing I would recommend if you're fasting and you have diabetes, if you can monitor your blood sugar with a regular glucose monitor, that's fine. But a better way to do it would be to have one of those continuous glucose monitors that you just attach to your arm, and they last like 2 weeks. Constantly reading your blood sugar levels, and if it drops too low, it'll set off an alarm. So that's a really good device to have if you're diabetic and you want to do some fasting. I mean, it's a good thing to monitor your blood sugar levels, but when you're fasting, I highly recommend having a continuous glucose monitor. If you're diabetic, you could probably get them at least the first pack with the monitor for free, or your insurance should cover it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. My insurance should be able to get me one.
Yeah, it should. So sometimes they don't, but often they do. So that will definitely be a great tool for you. You do want to be really careful, but your blood sugar usually doesn't go but so low when you're fasting. Like, if people think, it's going to go so low and I'm gonna die. It's not.
No, I don't think like that.
Yeah, it's not likely. But just to give you peace of mind and information, and you want that information of what your glucose levels are at all times. So that is a great thing, again, because it has that alarm system built in. So if it did go too low, it would alert you.
Okay, thank you. I drink a lot of water, and I laugh every time I think about this because the last time I was in the hospital, it was because I was drinking too much water. And this is when I first started my weight loss journey, and I was just drinking a lot of water. I was at work. I had a case of water next to me at work, and then I ended up in the hospital, and my doctor walked in and said 3 words to me: "Stop drinking water." And I thought that was so funny, because all people ever told me, you want to lose weight, drink a lot of water. So I learned to regulate my water intake. So I just want to start doing fasting more, because, like I said, the last 2 times I tried to do it, I considered it a failure because I had to eat. I got shaky. So thank you. I'll try to go through my medical provider and get one of those
continuous
glucose testers that I can get, that's constantly doing.
Yeah,
Good information tonight.
That's great, yeah. And the reason that too much water is dangerous is you could die from drinking too much water, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I
was in the hospital. I passed out. Right. And that's all he said to me. She said I was drowning from the inside.
But the main reason is that you're washing out all the sodium in your body. Oh. That's the main reason that you ended up in the hospital, because when you drink too much water, it keeps flushing the sodium out of your body, and you cannot live without sodium. It's a certain amount of sodium that we need to survive, and drinking too much water will flush out all the sodium in your body, and it could possibly lead to death. So
I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that, Adrian.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? No? Comment?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Thank you for the show. This is Beverly. I have a question or query. I have fasted over the last 2 decades or so. I used to fast for like Lenten season and sometimes at the end of the year. So I used to live in the island, so I used to get coconut water. So I drank coconut water more or less, and it worked for me. But since, coming to America, the coconut water is full of sugar. Mm-hmm. Some of them, and the ones that don't have it, pretty expensive to do extended fast. So I had a stroke recently, and I was told I shouldn't or can't, do fasting. What do you think about it? Can I still fast with just regular water and some lemon, or quit it altogether?
Well, I think you could benefit from fasting, but again, with your health concern, you want to make sure it's monitored. Make sure it's monitored. You said you had a stroke recently. And
yeah.
I want to offer to you, you might want to look into getting into a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. A hyperbaric oxygen chamber adds, it actually pressurizes oxygen and puts it into the mitochondria, which is the part of the cell.
Well, I tried that. I did that over the last 9 months. I tried, but it wasn't the real hyperbaric chamber. It was a portable one.
Oh no, you don't want the portable. You talk when you say not real. What do you mean?
No, it's like a portable, the one that you put on a bed and you go in. It's like a sleeping bag sort of chamber.
No, you don't want that type. You want the type that you put your whole body inside of it.
Yeah. This one you go inside, but it's not the big one that you walk in. It's the one like I said, a sleeping bag, and it aerates into I guess like a tent. And I did it for a couple of times, about an hour, sometimes more.
You did it a couple of times, you said?
Yeah, maybe about 8 times, yeah.
Yeah. The thing about, the ones that are portable are good, but not, I know they have some little ones that you don't put your whole body in. I thought maybe you were talking about that, but the ones, like the ones made by, I think it's called a terrace, or different brands out there. Summit by the Sea. They have some that you can sit upright in, and they have some that you can lay down in. Those are good. Those are good. The issue is you have to have multiple consecutive treatments, meaning that you need to get into the chamber once or twice a day for many days. You might need to get into the chamber once or twice a day for 20 days to see a real benefit from it. You can't get hit and miss or get in there today and not tomorrow, and 3 times a week. You're not going to see much benefit that way. When you have a serious medical issue like stroke, cancer, or heart disease, things like that, you want to make sure you get into that chamber continuously. It has to be consecutive days. Because you're going to need to either go to a clinic or a wellness center somewhere and buy like a multi-pack of sessions, or you're going to need to rent or buy a chamber to have at home so you can get in it every day. So, they're very effective with helping.
Yeah, the therapist did say that to me, and I need to be there more than once a week, which is what I did because of the cost.
Right.
But he did say that to me. I needed to be there, more often.
Once a week isn't going to give you really any benefit. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Beverly. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Have any more questions?
Yeah, Sharon, the hyperbaric chambers, how much do they normally run for a home model?
You can get one as low as $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
You can. They have some that are not FDA approved. Mostly they're made in China. They are good chambers, but I personally would go with the FDA approved one. Not that I'm so pro FDA, because they're not always,
Correct. Yeah.
Now for our benefit, but I think we're in the hyperbaric chamber industry. I would definitely make sure it was FDA approved, and again, you can get them as low as $10,000. You can rent them for about $900 a month. So if somebody just needed it, like the previous person, maybe they just wanted to get in it every day for a month, and that's their treatment, that's their script, then they can, maybe it'd just be cost effective to rent one for a month. But you can rent them, and you can purchase them for as low as $10,000.
And how's the longevity on them? Normally, they give you a warranty for the like. Let's say if you bought one for $10,000, is there a warranty with that, or?
Yeah, they do
play
come.
At your own risk.
They come with a warranty. The warranties vary by the brand that you purchase. So they can come with as little as a 1-year warranty, and then they have some that have 5-year warranties. So it depends on the brand, and the ones with the better warranty tend to be a little more expensive.
Expensive, right. Okay, thank you, Sister Sharon.
This is Anthony again. For those of us who may not know the purpose of a hyperbaric chamber, could anyone explain the purpose of a hyperbaric chamber?
Sure. Well, the hyperbaric chamber has multiple purposes, because what it does, it actually puts oxygen into our cells directly, because the chamber pressurizes the oxygen, and it allows the oxygen to get into the cell, into the mitochondria, which is the part of the cell that energizes the body. So it's good for many things, many things. I'm actually a certified hyperbaric oxygen technician, and I mean the list is endless. The work that I read about, how it affects children with autism. We just assume that if a child is diagnosed with autism, then that's just it. That's just the way they're going to be. No, there's been studies and showing that the hyperbaric oxygen chamber actually improves their brain function, and they actually improve from being in the chamber. Cancer patients have great benefit from the chamber. That's what drew me into it. Stroke victims have lots of improvement from being in the chamber. The issue is that insurance only covers it for certain things, like if you're burn victims, they're going to stick you in the chamber because one thing that they acknowledge that they cannot ignore is the wound healing that happens in the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. I think I told this story before. My cousin, the first time I ever heard of it, this was several years ago. She had been told she was a diabetic, and she had an injury to her foot that wasn't healing properly, and her blood sugar was very high. And the first thing they wanted to do was cut off her foot, and she refused to let them cut off her foot. She got out of that hospital, and she went to her primary care doctor, who actually knew about the hyperbaric oxygen chamber, and he sent her somewhere where she could get in the chamber. And she was in the chamber 10 consecutive days. 10 consecutive days. And her foot healed to the point where no one is suggesting that they cut off her foot. And she's doing perfectly fine walking around on that foot. So that's what sparked my interest in the chamber, and I, further educated myself and went through the training and read a lot about the benefits of oxygen therapy. And it's really not much that it won't help. A lot of athletes use it. One of the most famous ones that we know right now that uses is LeBron James. He gets in the chamber. He has his own chamber, and he gets in it on a regular basis. It optimizes their performance. So it's multiple uses for that chamber. It helps the blood circulation. It's many things. I hope I answered your question. Anthony, I don't see you anymore. I don't know what happened. You still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. Yes, you did answer my question.
Okay.
Perfectly.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions and comments, we're going to end a little earlier. And I hope to see you back in 2 weeks. I'll let you know who my surprise guest is at that time. And we'll have another enlightening, healing conversation. So thanks again for joining us.
And thanks for having us. Excellent.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Right, you do the same.
All right. Thank you.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.